Alrighty, welcome everybody. Welcome to this special episode of Brownsville Tech Live. It is Sunday, October 13th, and we are 25 minutes and 24 seconds away from the launch of SpaceX's Starship IFT5. And this is the fifth integrated flight test for Starship. It will involve Starship Super Heavy Booster number 12, and rocking on top of it will be Starship Ship number 30. And as you see, we've got a feed right now on the launch pad for Starship. And we are just waiting for the SpaceX feed to come on live. So for those of you that are just joining us, you can tune in to watch that launch directly on this show, or you can go to our mobile app at brownsvilletechlive.com. Either way, it's going to be an exciting show. So what's up for this launch? Well, there's lots of things that we look forward to. Once again, they are going to launch Starship. They are going to attempt for it to go into orbit and to return safely back to Earth. And they're going to attempt to land a super heavy booster for the first time here at Starbase at Boca Chica using the Mechazilla chopsticks arms. So it is pretty exciting about what we are going to see in less than 30 minutes. So we'll go ahead and flip real quick while we're waiting to our virtual theater site. And by the way, for those of you that are tuning in and want to place a comment or two, the chat lines are open, and we will answer your questions as we get them. So let me go ahead and flip over real quick. All right, let's see here. Yeah, give me a second. All right, so once again, hold on. All right, so once again, this is Starship Integrated Test Flight number 5. It is today on Sunday in about less than 20 minutes from Starbase. And once again, for those of you tuning in, you can catch that on our mobile app, brownsvilletechlive.com, if you'd like to watch it. And just a quick rundown, real quick. It will involve, as previously mentioned, Starship number 30, the upper stage, and the Super Heavy Booster number 12. And the two milestones for today's launch include launching Starship into orbit, having it orbit the Earth, and then safely return back. That is the goal of today's launch. And in addition to that, it is to the first time land a super heavy booster back to the launch pad here at Boca Chica. And it's going to involve the Mechazilla and the launch tower. And basically, it consists of two mechanical arms. They're called chopsticks. And Elon coined the entire launch pad, or the entire launch pad, Mechazilla. It will attempt, once again, to capture a 400-foot super heavy booster in mid-air. The catch will occur beneath the grid fins. And as a result of that landing, we may experience some sonic booms. And those sonic booms basically involve the speed of sound. The speed of sound is the distance traveled per unit of time by a sound wave as it propagates through an elastic medium. So at about 20 degrees Celsius, the speed of sound in the air is about 343 minutes per second, or 1 kilometer in 2.91 seconds, or 1 mile in 4.69 seconds. It all depends on the temperature outside with regards to the sonic boom. So for those of us who have flown on airplanes, we travel at subsonic speed. So we never experience sonic booms. But fighter pilots or Top Gun pilots, when they're traveling in their F-15s or F-18s, they are traveling at the speed of sound, which is Mach 1. At Mach 1, which is about 761 miles per hour, and if the temperature is about right at 20 degrees Celsius, they'll experience a shock and a sonic boom. And then at supersonic speed, which is faster than the speed of sound, you will experience sonic booms. So we probably are going to feel the sonic booms as the super heavy booster tries to land on the launch pad. So what happens if it doesn't? It will land in the Gulf of Mexico. And for those of you outsiders wondering, where are all these rockets manufactured? They're actually manufactured right here at Boca Chica, east of Brownsville at Starbase. SpaceX employs over 2,000 employees. It recently completed the Star Factory, a 1 million square foot facility that will manufacture Starship rockets. It is labeled this factory the factory of the future. SpaceX also completed a 5-story parking garage for their employees, and they just completed a second launch pad tower for additional launch capability. They continue to make investments in the area, including housing, educational, retail, restaurants in and around Starbase. So this is a big economic boom, not only to Brownsville, but to South Texas, as well as Texas, and of course the nation as a whole. And for those of you wondering, they did obtain their FAA license on October 12th. And there's a copy of that license. So if anybody had any doubts that they were not allowed to fly, the license is right there. And of course, there are county beach closures today. You are not to be anywhere near Boca Chica or State Highway 4. It will be closed. It's been closed since midnight all the way to 2 p.m. this afternoon. And for those of you boaters and jet skiers, there is safety advisories. Please stay away from the yellow exclusion zones. You're going to delay the launch if there's a boat out there during this time. So please stay away from that. We want to have a successful launch, but we also want to launch on time. And of course, what's the weather like for today? Well, today it's forecasted to be 91 degrees. The UV index is about 6, so it's pretty high, so wear plenty of sunscreen. The wind is going to be blowing from the southeast at 7 miles per hour, and the gusts are going to be at about 18 miles per hour. There is no chance of rain, so that's good news. And there's very little clouds today, so we should have a pretty good launch. And if it doesn't launch today, we've got launch windows on Monday and Tuesday, and the temperature there is 91 degrees with 0 chance of rain. So we've got 2 additional good days in case something goes wrong today. And just to make sure there was no rain lurking around, we've got a snapshot of the current Texas radar, and it shows absolutely no rain whatsoever. All right, so a quick run by of the flight plan. What is the flight plan? Well, there's actually 11 steps of the flight plan. Number one, we've got liftoff. Number two, that is the point that the rocket reaches max Q, which is maximum dynamic pressure. It is the phase in which the rocket experiences the most pressure from outside forces. If the rocket makes it past max Q, then it leads to the third step, which is main engine cutoff. In this step, the 20 Raptor engines and the 10 RC engines will be shut down, leaving the 3 main engines throttling at about 50%. Once that happens, then the next step is 4A. That is where there is stage separation. That is the separation of the Starship launch vehicle from the Super Heavy booster. At 4B, there's a boost back where 10 Raptor engines from the Super Heavy will be reignited. Then at 4C, there is going to be hot stage ring jettison. And then that's going to be followed by 4D, which is where they're going to restart the 13 Raptor engines all at once. And then at 4E, all RC engines are restarted except the 3 main engines, and it slows down to a vertical descent. And then, of course, in 4F, the chopped sticks with the booster already close to the launch pad will attempt to catch the booster. And if it successfully catches the booster in 4G, there will be a booster burn shutdown. In the meantime, while that's happening in less than a minute, we've got Starship making its way up to orbit. So in step 5, all Starship engines at full throttle until Starship engine cutoff. In step 6, Starship reaches orbit and the 3 main engines are cut off. And then in step 7, Starship will orbit the Earth and attempt to re-enter the atmosphere. If it survives re-entry in step 8, it will decelerate to subsonic speed. That's 22 times the speed of sound. Once it does that, then it will perform a belly flop and it will attempt to splash down in the Indian Ocean, and it will be left to settle to the bottom and sink. And that is the entire flight plan right in front of you. It's going to be exciting, folks. It's going to be exciting. So we will be seeing this happen in less than 12 minutes, which is great, right? Alrighty, and as you can see, we've got a live view from the launch pad. We are just waiting for SpaceX to start their feed. We should be seeing that come up anytime soon. So for those of you who are just joining us, you are watching Brownsville Tech Live. We are covering the launch of IFT4. And the comment lines are open. Mr. Gilbert Figueroa, thank you for joining us. Steve actually is off today. I gave him the day off. So it's just me for today. But we appreciate you tuning in, and we hope that Steve is enjoying his day off today. It's great when I have him, but I decided to give him a day off. I don't want to work him too hard, you know? So, thank you, Mr. Figueroa, we appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate the fact that you guys tune in each week, whether we're covering sports related stuff, with the Dallas Cowboys, or baseball stuff, or even our tech shows like this, right? We appreciate that. Without our fans, we couldn't do this each and every week, and we thank you for tuning in. So, once again, guys, this is Starship Integrated Flight Test number 5. You can watch the live launch directly on our mobile app at brownsvilletechlive.com. You want to be extra careful when you go out to YouTube these days. There's been a lot of cryptocurrency scammers out there faking certain video events, whether it's SpaceX related material, whether it's Elon Musk. There's a lot of AI generated videos out there. And what they've tried to do is, well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to sell cryptocurrency. So if you have a video on YouTube that immediately or shortly after asks you to scan a QR code, chances are what they're doing is they're trying to entice you to scan that QR code, infect your mobile cell phone, and entice you to buy cryptocurrency. Now, the good thing is, for the most part, most of us don't have 35, 40, $50,000 to buy a single cryptocurrency coin. Or at least I don't have that kind of money to burn, or would I? So, I'm not sure what the end goal is of that. But I've run into quite a few of those over the last a couple of weeks. In fact, if you all recall, for those of you here in Brownsville, a few weeks ago, there was a statue, a meme statue of Elon running around town. And there was an event that was scheduled by this cryptocurrency company in downtown Brownsville. And all it really was a method to entice people to actually buy cryptocurrency using Elon. It wasn't sanctioned by SpaceX, and it wasn't sanctioned by Elon Musk himself. It was a crypto company that was trying to take advantage of the popularity of SpaceX and Elon Musk to try to entice people to buy cryptocurrency. So you want to be careful these days when you go to to YouTube, because there seems to be a lot of that going on, especially with AI. They've made it to where, they make people believe that, this is a genuine video. And so you want to be careful. But to avoid all that, just go to brownsvilletechlive.com, and we've got a direct link, a safe link. It's probably the safest way on your mobile device to actually watch the launch. So if you're at work, or you're getting ready for church, or you're at church and you want to watch the launch, just go onto our mobile app at brownsvilletechlive.com. We've got a direct feed, and you should be able to hit it and watch it. So, yeah, and just to double check, I did make the feed is on, so on our mobile app. So, for those of you that are tuning in, um, we are definitely the mobile app is live. The feed is live, so uh, you should be a-okay, with it. So, all right. Once again, we've got a live feed right now from Starbase. That is a feed of the launch pad. It's supposed to start anytime soon now. Um, we're just waiting. They're kind of late. It's like 6:45 in the morning, you know? So I'm not sure what's going on, but they're definitely there's definitely a delay of some sort. So Just waiting to see what happens there. I'm actually going to get on X on my mobile device and see if a lot of times they may provide updates as to what's going on. So, I mean, we've had these delays before, so it's not like, you know. Give me a second here. All right. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second while I get the live feed. Apparently, there was something wrong here. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. All right. 1 second. All righty. We've got a live feed right now.
That we're talking about promises to increase the likelihood of Starship being better protected during controlled reentry as it heads towards its flip maneuver and landing burn for a soft splashdown on target in the Indian Ocean, just like we did in Flight 4. And we'll have to wait and see, keep your fingers crossed, but we may have some new views in store for you today as well.
Right, like all test flights, we want to learn as much as possible, and views of Starship during all phases of flight help us to keep improving the vehicle for recovery and reuse.
Now, thinking forward to when Starship is flying regularly, it will take the heaviest payloads
Good morning,
to space,
Anna D. Jardines.
land humans
Thank you
on the
for
moon
watching.
again after more than half a
Oh,
century,
man,
and ultimately fly
7:25.
people
Well,
further
that's
into
good.
space than ever
I'm
before.
still not ready to
and
go to
getting there
church
will
yet.
require us to rapidly iterate and fly often, which is why we're working so hard to scale
So,
operations at Starbase.
7:25.
Yeah, the faster
it
that we learn
is.
now, the faster we can improve and evolve Starship to achieve reliable flights and rapid reusability. We've been designing this vehicle from day one to realize a vision of having an entire city of people on Mars, something we know will take launching millions of pounds of cargo and equipment into space spread across thousands of flights. This future will require many Starships that can fly again and again, and today's flight is
One
a
of our
critical
viewers,
step on
Anna
that
D.
path.
Jardines,
So
has
buckle
notified
up
us
your
that
seatbelts
the
because
launch is
here
now
we
scheduled
go.
for 7:25.
The moon and Mars
So
are not
that's good.
nearly as
That's
far in the
good.
future
You know,
as you
it's
may
still
think.
this morning,
In fact,
which
we're
is
planning
good,
to send
right?
Starships
So-
to Mars as soon as 2026.
You might be familiar with the Starlink logo, and there you can see it on your screen. It's an iconic representation of the Mars transfer orbit, also called the home and transfer orbit. This is how fundamental Mars is to SpaceX. This transfer window, or a time when the Earth and Mars are the closest to each other, opens every 26 months and is only open for about 2 to 3 months at a time for a vehicle with Starship's power. And it just so happens that the next Mars transfer window opens in 2 years towards the end of 2026.
Yeah, lining up a launch to Mars is similar to how we launched to the International Space Station, where we time launches to match the station's orbit. If we didn't do this, we'd need more propellant and more time to get there.
Exactly. So the first opportunity that we have to fly Starships to Mars, we plan on doing it. These first flights to Mars will be uncrewed and will test the reliability of landing intact. If those landings go well, the first crewed flights will follow soon after.
So it's safe to say it's all happening, and flights like today's are what's going to get us there. Not only have we made several improvements to the
For
Starship
those of
flying
you out
today
on the
based on what
island,
we've
if you
learned
want to
from
chime in
our
on the
last
comments
flight,
and give us an
including extensive
update on
upgrades
what
to
the
Starship's
island looks
hardware
like,
and software, we've
that would
also
be
made
great.
improvements to the
The
launch
comment
tower and
lines are
catch
open,
mechanisms.
and
And if
we'll
you've noticed in
appreciate
some of the
any
live views
feedback
this
that you
morning, our
provide.
teams have completed
Once again,
stacking the
for those of
second
you
launch
just joining
tower,
us,
which will be coming
you are
online next
watching
year.
IFT5,
Having two operational launch towers paired
and
with ships and boosters rolling
it
off the
is
line
the
in our
launch
new
today
Star
of
Factory
Starship.
will allow us to increase our
And,
flight cadence and test
be
even
sure
more
to
rapidly.
like,
And just a few
subscribe,
miles away from the
follow,
two towers, things are
and
moving
comment
really fast
on
at the
this
heart of
channel on
Starbase.
Facebook as
Star
well as
Factory is
YouTube.
rapidly coming online, with production teams already using the space as construction continues. The 1 million square foot Star Factory brings many parts of the manufacturing process under one roof for the first time, enabling moving as much system integration work as possible earlier in the build process, with the goal of eventually producing hundreds of Starships a year.
That's crazy. It's such an impressive building. So, for example, teams can assemble an entire nose cone structure of a ship into a single piece and work on its internal systems all in one place. So if you're working on Starship and you have a question about the steps that you're working that happen before or after yours, instead of having to leave the building and go and find the person or the team with the answer, or waste time sending an email and waiting for their response, odds are you're right next to that person or team, and now you're working right alongside them, so you don't have to wait for a response.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it a lot more efficient and faster to communicate. So not only are we rapidly iterating on these spacecraft themselves, but we're also innovating the way that they're made.
It's almost too much to keep up with.
We're also posting updates on our account on X. If you can't keep up, that'll help you. So if you don't already, make sure that you follow us at SpaceX on X. And I have a feeling it's going to get pretty busy.
Oh, that is definitely an understatement.
And it's definitely going to be very exciting today. So with that, let's meet today's Starship on the pad. Starship features two major parts: the ship, which has 6 Raptor engines, and the Super Heavy booster, which has 33 Raptor engines. The current iteration of Starship is essentially an experimental vehicle flying for development. With a few planned upgrades, Starship will have 3 times the thrust of Saturn V, plus the added benefit of full reusability. Starship 2 will be capable of carrying more than 100 tons to orbit, and Starship 3 will be able to lift more than 200 tons to orbit. The amount of mass we're able to launch per rocket is crucial to creating a self-sustaining city on Mars.
Now, to get a sense of how big Starship is, let's start with the average size human, which is about 2 meters high. Towering over our average human is the length of the Millennium Falcon, which comes in at 35 meters. Our Falcon 9 rocket, with the payload fairing attached, is double the size of the Millennium Falcon, standing at 70 meters. And nearly twice the size of that is the fully integrated Starship at 121 meters tall. The ship itself is about 50 meters tall, and the Super Heavy booster alone stands about 71 meters. And even crazier, eventually the ship and booster will get even taller with future design iterations.
Can't imagine it being taller than that. Starship's first stage has a diameter of roughly 2.5 times that of Falcon 9, and with 33 much larger Raptor engines, which you can see there on your screen. Moving up the vehicle, the ship features 6 Raptors, 3 sea-level engines, and 3 vacuum engines, which are optimized to operate in the vacuum of space. The ship is designed for vertical takeoff and landing on any hard surface, like the surface of the moon. The ship is also outfitted with 4 flaps to help aerodynamically control the vehicle's attitude during atmospheric flight and enable a precision landing.
To reach full reusability, ship must survive entry not just once, but over and over again. It took the teams at SpaceX about 3 years to develop the heat shield on Starship, and development for improvements is still ongoing. The ship's heat shield is composed of 18,000 hexagonal ceramic tiles designed to insulate the vehicle during atmospheric entry, where temperatures can be as high as 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. And naturally, the tiles are designed for rapid reuse with no refurbishment between flights. As we mentioned earlier, today's Starship features a completely reworked heat shield with stronger tiles and a secondary protective layer. This promises to increase our chances of Starship making it through a controlled reentry and hopefully a little more intact this time around. And in between our first and second stages is our hot stage, which we last saw in action on flights 2, 3, and 4. Speaking of, let's take a trip back in time and talk about that last flight. On June 6th, Starship successfully lifted off at 7:50 a.m. Central Time from Starbase, Texas, cleared the launch tower, and went on to accomplish several major milestones and firsts. As you can see there, Super Heavy booster lifted off successfully and completed a full duration ascent burn. I love the view of the sound waves there. Following separation, Super Heavy booster successfully completed its flip maneuver, boost back burn as well to send it toward the splashdown zone, and it also jettisoned the hot stage adapter, as you can see there. We don't have to jettison that adapter in future iterations because it'll be a different design. Now, as you can see here, the booster is returning back to Earth using those hypersonic grid fins to steer it towards a precise landing in the Gulf of Mexico. The footage that we have coming up here, there it is from the buoy. I still remember seeing this on X for the first time, and it was so incredible to see that booster coming down, ending its flight with a soft splashdown 7 minutes and 24 seconds into the flight, and the crowd went wild.
And so did we. Starship's 6th second stage Raptor engine successfully powered the vehicle to space and placed it on a trajectory that would re-enter less than 1 orbit later over the Indian Ocean. And following a coast phase in space, Starship re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, successfully making it through the phases of peak heating and max aerodynamic pressure, and demonstrating the ability to control the vehicle using its flaps while descending through the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds. And of course, Starlink on Starship once again enabled real-time telemetry and live high-definition video throughout every phase of entry, with external cameras providing views all the way to the flight's conclusion.
Flight 4 ended with Starship, with, again, the crowd going bonkers, with Starship igniting its 3 center Raptor engines and executing the first flip maneuver and landing burn that we had seen since our high-altitude campaign. And that was followed by a soft splashdown of the ship in the Indian Ocean 1 hour and 6 minutes later.
And we were all glued to the monitors, watching the little flap that could the whole way down. Seeing the landing burn and splashdown was an incredible moment for the entire SpaceX team, and we'll be looking out for many more of these incredible moments today.
All right, so while today's mission profile is similar to Flight 4, we got a couple new test objectives, including catching the booster back at the launch tower.
In about 18 minutes from now, Super Heavy will ignite its 33 Raptor engines and lift off from Starbase. A little more than 2.5 minutes into flight, the Super Heavy booster will separate from the ship in a hot stage separation. After that separation, the booster will perform a flip maneuver followed by a boost back burn. And about 2 seconds after that burn ends, we'll jettison the booster's hot stage. As it heads back towards the ground, the booster will either attempt a landing, will have a landing burn, but then will either return to the tower or splashing down in the Gulf of Mexico.
Meanwhile, the ship's engines will remain lit for just under 6 minutes during its ascent phase before shutting down for the coast. The ship will coast for about 40 minutes or so, reaching a peak altitude of about 213 kilometers. After that coast phase, the ship will be attempting a controlled re-entry, including a flip maneuver and landing burn, like we saw on Flight 4, just before splashing down in the Indian Ocean. Now, we say attempting because, again, this is just a test and nothing is guaranteed.
Except excitement.
Well, of course there is that. Now, both the booster and ship have to contend with some extreme conditions on re-entry, which is where those heat shield tiles will be put to the test.
For this flight test, we do not expect to recover any hardware from the ship. With the exception of Falcon, this is no different than what happens to most rockets flying today that are expended, meaning that they fall into the ocean after completing their mission. Eventually, we will return and reuse Super Heavy boosters and Starships as we do today with Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy boosters. And in fact, we've landed Falcon boosters 352 times to date.
Oh, man, I hear you say that number, and that is just wild. I still remember the night or at least most of the night, that that Falcon landed for the first time, and it still feels like yesterday.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite moments at SpaceX. And returning Super Heavy promises to be an even more impressive sight and a huge moment on the road to rapid reusability.
Yeah, speaking of rapid reusability, future Starship designs will give Super Heavy boosters a lighter weight and integrated hot stage intended for full reusability, which will mitigate the need to jettison the hot stage like we'll do today. Similarly, even though ship recovery is not expected, the telemetry and data we receive all the way to the end is what we're what we're looking for, and is what will get us to a rapidly reusable Starship of the future.
Yeah, exactly. In other words, just like previous Starship flights, the payload for this mission is the data. All right, now that we have a handle on today's flight test, let's check in with Dan, who is right in the middle of the action. He's just a few kilometers from Starship on the pad. How's it going, Dan?
It's going great, Jesse. Welcome back to Starbase, everybody. It's been far too long. Little change of scenery this time. Right behind me is the Launch Control Center, where our flight controllers are counting down to our liftoff at 7:25 a.m. Central. We are a little bit later in our window. The main reason is we're working to clear out the range. Have not been tracking any technical issues so far to preclude that launch. So 7:25 a.m. Central, 12:25 UTC is what we're marching down to. As you can see, we're actively loading propellants on board Super Heavy and Starship. Liquid methane for your fuel, liquid oxygen for the oxidizer. Prop load on the ship started at about T-minus 49 minutes, booster at T-minus 40 minutes. We're going to keep loading propellants on those vehicles right down to the wire. Ship will close out at about 3 minutes and 20 seconds before T0, and then booster just about 30 seconds later. Now, with our startup sequence, it's going to look very similar to what you saw on Flight 4. We already tested it with this booster and its static fire. We're going to see the Raptors start to make fire at about T-minus 3 seconds, and then we'll start them up in 3 different banks. The first inner 13 will fire, and then about a second later, 15 of the outer ring engines, and then about 0.8 of a second after that, those final 5. Another reminder, if we need to hold, we have a built-in spot at T-minus 40 seconds. We can hold for stuff like if we need to finish clearing the range or if any other technical issues pop up, just kind of in the last second. But if there's nothing holding us back, we're going to go right past that and go down to 0. So, I mean, as of right now, we're just under 14 minutes away from liftoff, not working any technical issues. Range is expected to clear.
Yes,
we're just clearing
Elizabeth
out a few
Journal.
more boats.
It will
and
take off.
as you can see, the weather is perfect. We had a 100% go for launch.
Thank you
from
for
the
joining
weather
us
officer, so
today.
that was
This
pretty
morning, I'm
unprecedented
sorry.
and something we really like to hear. If we're not able to go today, since we are loading prop, it would likely be about 48 hours before our next attempt.
Thank you,
But
Elizabeth, for joining us.
good thing we're going to launch
this morning.
today. Really looking forward to being able to turn around and see it this time. Counting down to 7:25 a.m. Central, and I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. I'll send it back to you in Hawthorne.
Thanks, Dan. Now, one of the most exciting objectives for Flight 5 today is attempting to return the booster to the launch site that you see right there, and it will be caught by the tower. We refer to this simply as booster catch.
As you've heard us say, Starship and Super Heavy are designed to be rapidly reused, which is why we've developed a novel way of returning the vehicles that leverages the same hardware we use for stacking ahead of flight.
Right now, when we recover our Falcon boosters, they either return to a separate landing zone on land or to a drone ship in the ocean, both of which require time to transport the vehicle back to the launch site. In order for us to achieve truly rapid reusability, we need a quicker turnaround. And you can't get much faster than returning the launch vehicle right back to the launch site where it needs to be in order to launch again.
For today's booster catch attempt, while there are thousands of criteria that need to be met, there are 3 primary gates that will be in play. In order to proceed, automated checks have to indicate we have a healthy booster and a healthy tower, and the flight director must issue a manual command, which is informed by manual checks from the flight control team. If this command is not sent prior to the completion of the boost back burn, or if automated health checks show unacceptable conditions with Super Heavy or the tower, the booster will default to a trajectory that takes it to a landing burn and soft splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
Now, thinking to the future when we're operational, after a booster returns to the launch tower, it will be inspected and reloaded with propellants and then ready to launch another ship to orbit. For today's test, however, we're only going to attempt the catch, like Jesse said, if everything on the booster and tower checks out after launch. And of course, we will let you know as soon as we know if it's a go. And we're going to be listening very keenly for that call out. Now, as always, we accept no compromises when it comes to the safety of the public and our team. So to that end, the area all around the pad and the flight path are cleared well in advance.
Exactly. A lot of things have to go right in order to line up the booster catch. So don't be surprised if we don't attempt the catch today. Either way, today's flight will generate data that will continue to inform our future flights and help us get to that operational cadence.
Yeah. Oh, you can't forget what else it will generate.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I mean, I was going to say a sonic boom.
Oh, I was going to say excitement, but that's a really good reminder.
Now, if we do make it to a catch attempt today, Super Heavy may generate a sonic boom upon its return. And that's basically a brief thunder-like noise that we hear when an aircraft or other object travels faster than the speed of sound. Anyone that has been in the area for a Falcon 9 land landing in Florida or California, or even some space shuttle landings, may have heard one of these.
Generally, the only impact in those surrounding areas of a sonic boom is the brief noise, with variables like weather and distance impacting if or how the sonic boom is heard. Here's a brief look at how these sonic booms look and sound on Falcon.
Yeah, I'm there. What's up?
I know a lot of people will be excited when they hear the sonic boom.
And these are going to provide quite a show because you're going to hear those sonic booms.
Booster landing like deployed.
That sonic boom is great for us.
That thunderclap broke the sound barrier.
No radio.
Side booster separation confirmed.
Just heard the two sonic booms here in the room.
Booster landing confirmed.
I will see you.
Alrighty, Steve, welcome back.
As
Hey,
our
good morning,
test
people.
flights
Good morning.
continue,
Hey,
we
the
plan to
black
demonstrate
is stuck to me.
ship-to-ship propellant transfer, which will be important.
I
which will
told
be
everybody
important
you
in
had the day
preparation
off.
for Starship taking
No,
astronauts to the moon
hey.
as
I
part
got a
of
text
NASA's
message
Artemis
a little
program.
while ago from my niece.
SpaceX will perform
Hey,
one
I will
Oh.
see
crew
you on.
demonstration flight before NASA's Artemis 3
Oh, she's
mission, which
keeping
will
track
be
of
the
us.
first human
know.
surface expedition
Good
since
morning, everybody.
1972. Also,
This
in
is history
preparation
in the
for
making,
missions
Dan.
to the moon and Mars, we're
It
gaining
definitely
tons of
is
knowledge from
history
our
in the
human
making.
spaceflight missions, including
Hold on, let me know
free
how strong
flyer
it is.
flights like our recent commercial astronaut mission Polaris Dawn.
Polaris Dawn was the first of up to 3 missions in the Polaris program, which is demonstrating new technologies, conducting extensive research, and will culminate in a flight of Starship with humans on board.
After nearly 5 days in orbit, Dragon and the 4-person Polaris Dawn crew safely splashed down on September 15th off the coast of Florida, completing the first human spaceflight mission of the Polaris program. The Polaris Dawn crew performed some incredible firsts during their mission. Dragon and the crew reached 1,408.1 kilometers, the highest Earth orbit ever flown, and the farthest humans have been from our planet since the Apollo program.
The crew also performed the first ever commercial EVA, or extravehicular activity. And as you can see there, they were wearing the new EVA suits that we developed here in-house. This was an incredible moment to see Jared and then later Sarah emerge and perform this EVA with Earth behind. Now, in addition to this incredible spacewalk, they also conducted about 36 research studies and experiments from 31 partner institutions, including NASA. And in addition to all of that, they also tested Starlink laser-based communications in space. The data gathered from Polaris Dawn missions is invaluable, much like the data that we're going to see after today's flight test of Starship. So we're coming down to T-minus about 7 minutes. Let's check in with Dan.
Hey, thanks, Kate. So yeah, we're right at about 7 minutes away from launch. The main thing we are still working is that range clear. Again, we have to make sure boats, airspace, everything is cleared out of the way for our ascent corridor, basically the Gulf of Mexico, where we're launching through before we can actually launch. And so we're working on clearing out just a few more boats. We do have a window, remember, So if we end up holding at like a T-minus 40 seconds, we can hold for several minutes, allow those boats to get out of the way, and then we can launch. Our window is from 7 to 7:30 Central, so we don't have a huge amount of time today, but we do have some margin if we need to work with it to still get off the ground today. For now, though, we're coming up on finishing prop load on both vehicles. Header tanks are pretty much topped out on the ship. Those are going to be used for its landing burn. And again, we're going to be closing out all of the prop load at about T-minus 3 minutes, 20 seconds for the ship, and then just 30 seconds later for booster. One kind of cool thing to talk about, so the folks in launch control behind me, after liftoff, they're going to have some pretty special tasks today if we're going to go through with the catch. They're going to be doing some really detailed inspections just visually of all of the different tower systems, a lot of those things that we upgraded, just to make sure that we are in the right posture to actually proceed with the catch. So they'll be working kind of fast and furious behind the scenes to inform the flight director's manual command to send the booster back. So if we hear that command being sent, that's going to be just the roof's going to come off. That's going to be a really exciting moment. So
All right.
otherwise, if we don't go today, as you guys
So what time
talked
is the
about,
lunch?
there is a chance, and
Here
if
in
we
a few
don't send the
minutes,
booster
around
back, we'll do a
7:30.
landing burn and a splashdown in the Gulf, and then that's just another landing burn to gather more data, learn more lessons from, and then we'll come back and try
Where's
to
Hash
catch
Brown?
again on the next one. But
I
as of right now, we're coming up on 5
put 'em away.
minutes. There is a chance that we'll hold or extend into the end of our window, so don't be surprised if that ends up happening. But if those boats do get out of the way, we are just about 5 minutes away from launch.
So what's the launch time?
I'll check back in.
It's
in
supposed to
just
be
a
at
moment,
7:30,
back
but
over to you,
apparently
Kate and
there's some
Jesse.
boaters out there that decided to
Thanks, Dan. Our
get
rapid,
in the way again.
iterative
Did you
development
decide to
approach
go
has
out
been
there?
the basis for all of SpaceX's
No,
major
no.
innovative advancements, including Falcon,
I
Dragon,
warned
and
everybody
Starlink.
last night to stay
Today,
away from
we're testing hardware and
exclusions.
systems, and we need to know how they perform under the most extreme conditions. We'd much rather find the bugs now during testing than later
How many
on
people
when
you're
there's
on?
more on the
How many
line.
people have
And to
commented?
reiterate, we do
About
not,
4 or
while
5.
we do determine
Alright.
an acceptable level of
Yeah,
technical
so
risk
for those
on
of
our
you out
vehicle
there
and
that want
pad
to chime in,
order to learn
especially
as
those
fast as
out on
possible,
the islands,
we accept no compromises when it comes to the
if you want to
safety
give us a
of
little
the
bit of an
public
update
or
of
our
what it
team.
looks like
So
down there,
that is to say, this is
feel
only
free to
the
chime
fifth
in
of
to the
many
comment lines,
future
both on
flight tests
Facebook,
of Starship before it
X,
becomes
as
fully
well
operational.
as YouTube.
You might remember the Starlink panels that are incorporated into Starship, and you can see them there on your screen, those rectangular panels on Starship's nose cone. Starlink brings us the epic views in space and on re-entry, and also helps deliver us the critical flight data engineers need to continue development. In addition to enabling our rapid iteration on Starship, Starlink is also enabling life-saving communication here on Earth. SpaceX is sending tens of thousands of
So,
Starlink kits in response to hurricanes
the main thing
Helene
about
and
this
Milton, and
IFT5
providing free
is it
service
should
through
go
the
up,
end of the year to support
come
recovery
down, right?
efforts.
And they should
The
catch it
Starlink
back
team
on the
also
track.
worked with T-Mobile
Yeah,
to
two
activate
things.
our
One,
direct-to-cell
the Starship
satellites to provide basic texting
the
on
Starship
T-Mobile and emergency
upper
alerts for
stage
all
will
phones and carriers of
be
those in
launched into
affected
orbit.
areas. If a
It'll
phone
orbit
connects
the
to a
Earth,
Starlink
and
satellite,
then
it will have
attempt to
1 to
re-enter
2
the
bars of
atmosphere
signal and show
and land
T-Mobile SpaceX in the network
the
name.
ocean.
SpaceX's direct-to-cell constellation
And
has
that's
not
the
been
Indian
fully
Ocean.
deployed, so
And
these
then, of
services are
course,
being
the
delivered
super
on
heavy
a
booster
best-effort
is
basis.
the lower
Starlink
stage.
is enabling
That
life-saving
will be
communication here on
attempted
Earth
to be
and
landed
continues
right
to
here
help
on the
us
launch
push the
pad
limits in
with
space
the
in the short term by
chopsticks
providing
arms.
great views and real-time data
If
on
they
our
Are you on
can't-
YouTube right now?
flights, particularly through re-entry, which
they're asking
historically
what
is
is
a
the name of
blackout
the
period
page?
for all communications.
Brownsville Tech Live.
Yeah, that's what I put down.
They can also go to BrownsvilleTechLive.com.
All right, so we're coming up on 2 minutes 30 seconds away
got a
from
live feed on the
launch.
mobile app.
We were hearing like there's a pretty good chance we were going to hold at T-minus 40 seconds, but surprise, now it sounds like we might not be. So we are just a little over 2 minutes away, so a couple more things going to be happening. We did just close out our propellant load on the ship and the booster, so 10 million pounds of propellant on that vehicle on the pad here at Starbase, getting ready to go. We're going to start clearing out all of the lines that are basically pushing all of that propellant to the vehicles. Those get cleaned out or cleared out on the ground before we lift off. We're doing some final checks on the vehicle, the thrust vector control that we're going to use to steer it as well as the guidance system doing its final alignment, just a lot of our final checkouts. But we are starting to hear that it looks like the range is going to be clear at our liftoff time of 7:25 a.m. Central, 12:25 UTC. So that puts us 1 minute, 20 seconds away from launch.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Still not tracking any technical issues. That range clear is the only thing that's been
Imagine the power of those
potentially
boosters have.
poking at our launch. So I'm going to start to quiet down. We'll hear our flight director for today, Tristan Pierce, give some of the final call outs. As of right now, we are 1 minute away from liftoff.
1 minute away from liftoff, then.
Yep, 1 minute.
Regardless, this is still history, like I said before, man. Hey, history in the making.
It never gets old.
Yep. Those are Starbase employees.
Yeah, those are in Hawthorne.
Where are they?
They're in Hawthorne, California.
Flight directors go for launch.
There we go.
Best words you could possibly hear, 20 seconds away from liftoff.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is history.
T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And
We have liftoff.
that's a beautiful sight.
Yep.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
I didn't feel anything, did you?
Not yet.
Booster after chamber pressure nominal.
"30 seconds into the flight, the rumble's just starting to reach us here at launch control.
Booster and ship,
That
avionics
is the
power,
sound
telemetry
of
nominal.
33 Raptor engines.
I felt something.
You did?
Well, I don't know if
Max
that's
Q.
my AC or...
Now pass through the maximum aerodynamic pressure, the most stress the vehicle's going to see on the way uphill.
Let me see if I can see it outside my window. I see it, Dan. I see it.
You do?
All right, our next
Yes.
major milestone
Oh, wow.
coming up. It's going to be hot staging. We're going to
I see
see
it,
the
okay.
engines ignite on ship to push
see
it
it.
away from the booster.
You might not be able to see it, but...
Uh-oh. My monitors are shaking. My monitors
Uh-huh.
are shaking.
Told you. Told you.
Oh my gosh. Look at this.
All right, so hot
I
staging
feel
is going
it.
to be the next thing coming up.
I
First,
feel it.
we're going to see the booster's engines start
Oh
to
my
shut
gosh.
down.
Everything's
Yep.
shaking.
All
The
but
dog's
three.
really scared.
We're going to do
Poor
what's called
houses.
most engines cut off instead of main engine cut off, because three are going
I
to keep
feel it.
going, and then we're going to see the
I
engines
feel
on
it.
the ship ignite.
I think all of Brownsville just shook.
Right now, the tower team is doing their go, no, go.
My wife is saying poor turtles.
Oh. A few
I feel
alligators,
it.
Hear
thank
some
God.
really good words soon, too. All right. Can still see it up behind me. That is one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Booster
Coming up
engine
on
cut off.
hot staging next.
Okay, so... Is up.
Ship engine
There's
startup.
most engines cut off.
Stage separation.
Stage
It's
separation.
separated. I
Yep.
see the separation, dude.
Booster.
You do?
Separation.
Startup.
Yeah,
hot
outside the
stage
window, I see the separation.
Separation confirmed.
Wow, folks, we have
Ship
had
under its own
successful
power. I'm seeing 6 out of
stage
6
separation.
Raptors lit.
Awesome.
Hopefully, I got a booster on the way back to me. I'm going to send it to you guys in Hawthorne.
Oh man, that was absolutely incredible. I loved how the crowd
Chamber pressure is nominal.
Crowd here in Hawthorne
It's
all went
beautiful.
ooh at that first
I
view
see
of
it
the
do
blue
the show up
flames
there.
from the booster.
Wow.
As you can see
In
there,
the living room of my bedroom right now. That's it. So my living room.
first stage currently
window of my
performing,
living
or
room.
to
That
me,
is
is
it.
now making its
And
way
you're the furthest
back
away from
to, the
Yeah.
launch site. Again, we are
Ship avionics power and telemetry nominal.
the booster and the tower are both performing automated checks to make sure we are go for the booster to return to the launch pad for that catch. And once those are complete,
I
the
wonder
flight
if my
director
camera's on it.
Shutdown.
Probably.
Flight directors go for booster return.
And we did hear that the tower is go for catch. So
Here we
that
go.
was one of the big criteria we were looking for.
This is it, right?
This is the big moment.
this view
We'll
here.
wait to hear that the go for catch has been sent.
Beautiful view here from the ship.
And so exciting to hear that we got a go for booster catch. That means it's going to be a really exciting morning. Again, the booster is making its way back towards now land in order to make that catch attempt in the tower.
So incredible to see these views. You can see the ship on the right-hand side of your screen. All 6 Raptor engines are under full
I see it
power.
outside.
You do?
Once again,
Yes.
the
Coming
ship,
back
excuse
down?
me, the booster is making its
Huh?
way back
back
to
down?
the
Oh,
launch
wow.
site. We are going to try and catch it using the chopsticks on
I'm gonna
the
go
launch
outside and
tower,
see
the
if I
exact
can catch
same
it.
tower that
All
it
right.
just launched from just, wow, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and the booster.
Starship on nominal
And guys,
trajectory.
I can confirm the command was sent for the booster to come back.
That is
So I'm
incredible
looking
news.
up right now. It's pretty much right overhead of us, and we can see it
It's right
starting to
overhead,
come
dude.
down.
It is.
Oh, wow.
I see it from
I
outside.
can't wait for us to hear the
Wow.
sonic boom through Dan's mic.
Right.
It's coming
That's
down.
going to be
It's
incredible.
coming
It was so
down.
cool to hear the liftoff. And so once again,
It's a beautiful
successful on-time liftoff of Starship Flight 5. The ship has separated from the booster. The booster is there on your screen. It is making its way back to the launch site. We are going to attempt the catch using the chopsticks. We did hear the confirmation that
You
the
see that
command
smoke?
was sent to
Yep.
the tower.
That's
We
part of it,
are
yeah.
go for catch.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And in order
That's the
to
smoke
Guys,
it
we
created.
should just be about 30 seconds away from our landing burn.
Yeah, can't see it anymore. No, it's going down. It's going down.
Phases
Yeah,
where
it's
you
going
let
down.
13
Yeah.
engines burn off all
I
of
see
that
it, I see it,
velocity. Oh, we
and
can see
it's
it
going
coming down through the plume.
There it is.
Coming down. Coming down.
Booster coming in hot for booster catch.
We're going to ignite 13 of those Raptor engines, and this view
If they
is
successfully
incredible
land
right
this
now.
booster, they're inches closer to reality.
You can see how fast this vehicle is moving on the left-hand
Showing burn setup.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Landing burn,
There we go.
ignited. We're now down to 3 Raptor engines. We can see those
Come on,
chopsticks.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Okay. Okay.
That's it. Get it. Grab it. Oh my God.
Booster landing burn shutdown.
The booster has landed. We are one step closer to commercial launches, everybody. One step closer to commercial launches.
On the first ever attempt, we have successfully caught the Super Heavy booster back at the launch tower.
Awesome.
Incredible view.
Are you kidding me?
That is awesome.
Dan, I don't know about you, but we're losing our stuff up
Starship
here.
in terminal bed.
Guys, I'm sorry. Like, even in this day and age, what we just saw, that looked like magic. Oh, wow.
Dan,
Wow.
your view must have been insane. We are still going wild over here over this.
Folks, this is a day
There's a
for
sonic
the
boom.
engineering
I feel the-
history books.
Wow. Did you
This
feel
is a
that?
live view
Yo.
of the super heavy
No,
booster
got
as
it.
it has just been successfully caught back at the
Got it.
very same launch tower that it just came from. Dan, I love this. You are reflecting exactly what
on, Oreo.
everybody
I know
else
you're
here in
scared.
Hawthorne,
Got it.
except maybe a little bit more because
Oreo's
you got to see it with your own eyes.
Hashtag scared.
How was that?
We
Shipment is
got
cut off.
it. I mean, like,
You're scared, baby.
I can't even describe that. Oh, by the way, ship, main engine cut off, ship's in orbit, but I am like shaking right now.
Neighborhood
That
app. Your grounders will
Yeah,
up.
it-
What happened?
Oh my God.
This is not,
Yeah,
I mean,
let's
it's
check
Poor
it out.
Oreo,
it's
look
hard
at
to
him. He's all
believe
scared.
that.
Starship nominal orbit insertion.
All right, exciting
Oreo,
news
it's
there.
gonna
It's
be
hard to
fine.
believe that,
It's
you
gonna
know,
be
Booster
fine.
isn't the only excitement that we have today. Just confirmation there. A gorgeous view of planet Earth behind the ship.
Yes, saved.
And it is now in the orbit
down.
that we expected it
Hold on.
to.
Get down.
This is just an incredible day. Live views there.
That's awesome.
As the booster
It is
vents
awesome.
some pressures
And to
there.
know that
That
it's
is a live view
being
from the top of the
launched
tower
and
looking at the
landed right
chopsticks.
here from Brownsville,
I am
Texas.
still
Right
in
here.
Not only
sleep.
that,
I'm trying to catch my
by
tears, just like
Brownsville
the
employees
chopsticks
who
pop the
build these
booster.
rockets each
It
and
has
every
been
day.
nonstop. Since
What an
we're-
accomplishment.
Moment in history.
A moment in history, not just
We are
for SpaceX,
also
but for
excited about
Brownsville.
everything that's been happening so far this morning.
Hey, were
With
you
the
getting
booster
all the
having
text
completed
messages?
its job for today,
chat
we are
messages?
going to take a short break for the next
I'm not
30
seeing
minutes.
any
We'll
messages.
return
Hold
back
on.
at T plus 40 minutes while the ship continues to coast before re-entry.
Oh man, and as with previous flights, Starlink may actually enable us to talk with the ship through re-entry with no communication blackout. We of course are still testing Starlink during this phase of flight, so nothing is certain, but if we do have views, we'll be sure to bring those to you live.
which text messages.
Views
No, just
or
any.
no views,
I was
we'll
just-
see you back here
Oh,
at T plus
it-
40
sorry.
minutes for coverage of Starship's re-entry,
What
flip
happened?
maneuver, landing
Try
burn,
sending a
and
text message through
splashdown.
YouTube.
All right. Yeah, I did, and nothing. So,
Do it again.
all right. There we go. Test, right?
Yeah, what happened is I didn't have the chat window popped out.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was part of history. And
Yep.
IFT5 successful. You know, I don't know if you guys are from Brownsville, Texas, or from the area. Let us know if you felt the sonic booms.
Oh, I felt them.
I felt them too. And out of the window of my living room, I was able to see it, dude.
Yep. Yeah, I'm
You
wondering
didn't have
if-
anybody
I
out
wonder-
there?
Well, no. Ramiro unfortunately was working, but I'm wondering if he left the ogre cam on because he's got that directly pointed in that direction. He lives about 15 miles away from the launch pad. So,
Hey, if you can get that video.
yeah, that'd be great. I haven't
CNN just put SpaceX and Starship rocket booster in the arms. So, hey, it's already reported in national news.
Yep. So
Hey, so this gives us what? Exactly.
well, it's basically it is now fully reusable from launch to landing. So it just means that there's going to be an additional test coming up. As you know, they want to do up to between 9 to 25 launches per year here from Starbase.
Right.
And so there's going to be more testing, but this definitely is a game changer. It separates SpaceX, it separates the men from the boys. It pretty much says they're in the lead with regards to commercial space travel. So the next phase here is landing Starship SN30, which you see on the right, sorry. On the left is the launch pad. But totally incredible to see that site on the left-hand side. To see that booster land was just incredible.
Hey, to see that thing catch it.
Right?
That's a stationary object.
I
Right?
know.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I have my doubts.
I did too. I mean, I expected an explosion, or at most a ditching into the ocean, right? But to make it happen on the first shot is incredible. And even for some of my sources within SpaceX, they had doubts themselves. They expected a ditch in the ocean, yeah. So this definitely, overmet their expectations.
Well, as you can see, if you ever have a replay of it, the way it came down, I'm like, oh no. What are we seeing now?
We're seeing the top of the Super Heavy booster on the launch pad.
How much does that booster weigh, do you know?
I don't know, but it's exactly 400 feet tall.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you think about 400 feet, the tallest building here in the United States is over 1,000 feet. I think, I don't know if the Sears Tower is now the tallest or whether the new World Trade Center Tower is the tallest, but I think it's like 1,200 feet. So that booster is almost half the height of the tallest building in the United States.
Wow.
So it's a big deal.
Well, October 13th. October 13th.
Or as Joe Biden would say, it's a BFD.
That's President Joe Biden, sir.
Correct. Sorry, I forget. Como ya está casi afuera.
It doesn't matter. He's still President Joe Biden till January, as a matter of fact.
I know.
Alright, so let's not talk about politics, though. This
I
is
know. We
Starship.
We did that. We didn't even do that last night. Did you?
I know. I saw the podcast.
Yeah. It was kind of neat because we had actually more than 2 people on. That was a good thing.
Right. That was something else.
But yeah, it's what you're seeing here is a live view, I believe, of orbit, and that is Starship orbiting the Earth. And you're going to see it land, or you're going to see it try to re-enter the atmosphere and land in the Indian Ocean. And they're pretty much going to let it sink in the ocean, by the way. They're not going to recover it. Or at least that's what they tell us, But they recovered the previous one. We just didn't know about it until after it happened. I guess maybe there's, security implications for letting people know what you're doing, right? Man, I hope this music doesn't get me an issue at YouTube. You know how they're so picky about stuff like that.
Yes, sir. I don't hear any music.
You don't?
Too early in the morning for music.
Have you had breakfast yet?
I tell you, I just got up. The only reason I got up was I received a text message. You're not live? I'm like, no.
Well, I had told everybody. Oh, Gilberto Figueroa says, saludos, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Gilbert. Did you appreciate it? Hey, can you move the video of you and me to a side or somewhere?
Yeah.
Because you're covering the chat. Can you move the chat?
I know. Hold on. Let me see what I can do.
If you can. If not, good morning, Gilbert.
I can.
How's the weather? Oh, with your mom.
Give me a second. There we go.
There we go. Good morning, Gilbert. Good morning, man. Hey, hopefully you're having a blessed day, brother. Did you see the launch? Did you feel the sonic booms? It was awesome.
Yeah, my poor puppies here. They didn't like the sonic booms.
Hash brown wanted to be put away. He never wants to be put away. Uh-oh. Sorry. Somebody called me. And since the phone's connected to the iPad,
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to be in orbit this long. At least it didn't feel that way the last time.
Well, dude, I had never seen it from my house.
That's incredible because you are the furthest away from the launch pad. I mean, you're in
Right.
the west side of the Browns. Well, what is it? Is
Right.
It the west side?
Yeah,
it's
west
the
side.
west side. That is incredible. I think the next
I
time you're
know.
gonna have to put a camera on the roof.
Dude, it'd be awesome if I did, cause
I know, we've talked about all kinds of things about setting up cameras, in different places, but
But the only thing, the sonic boom would it fall down, wouldn't it?
Well, you got to secure it, right? You got to secure it.
I just had my cameras, they didn't catch it.
Yeah. Indy's back. Look at that. Indy's back. I was wondering about Indy.
There we go. What's up,
Hi,
Indy?
guys of '89.
Yes,
Indy,
sir.
don't
1989, I'm proud.
Don't date us, Indy. Don't date us.
Too late for that, brother.
Yes, Indy, I was wondering about you. I was expecting you to chime in last night. And I thought, what happened to Indy? Where's he at? And there's Ramiro. Ramiro says, wow, we are going to Mars in 2026. Maybe sooner.
Good morning, Ramiro. Hey, hop on board, man.
All that could make this day great besides landing that booster is if the Cowboys win tonight.
They're going to win. I don't know. What's your problem, all right? Yeah, they're winning.
Yeah. Nothing would cap the day with a Cowboys win tonight, folks. Oh, Indy's in Austin. Ay, Indy. What are you doing up there?
Good luck, AD in Austin, man. Good luck.
Go Cowboys. Yes.
Yes,
Go
sir.
Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
We've got a tough game today, but we will be victorious. We're gonna make those Lions into Cubs. I got to remind myself that we've got California fans. The last thing we want is to upset the 49er fans, which, by the way, we're coming to you. We're coming to you in about 2 weeks. We'll be fully rested.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow. I can't believe they're taking forever on this.
Well,
I could have sworn that the last time they tried to land the Starship, it didn't take this long, but maybe it was shorter.
maybe.
It was shorter because they just wanted to see if it could work. Maybe they want to test to make sure it flies around the Earth, But boy, what a disappointment, obviously, for Boeing in all of this. They've been struggling to try to get their Starliner capsule going. And SpaceX just once again proved why they are the premier commercial space launch provider. They successfully landed the Starship booster. And that is a big, big thing. What this means is now that Look at Doug. Doug's even awake. Oh my gosh, Doug.
Good morning, Doug. Good morning. Say hello to your beautiful wife.
They are in orbit right now.
So they're doing the orbit, right?
Yeah, it's still in orbit right now. We've got a live view from orbit, folks. A live view from orbit. That is Starship ship number 30, and it is orbiting the Earth as we speak. We have had a successful landing of Super Heavy in the launch pad, on the launch pad here at Boca Chica at Starbase. For those of you outsiders who are wondering where this is happening, it is happening here at Starbase, Texas, formerly known as Boca Chica Beach, 27 miles east of Brownsville, Texas, in the United States, on planet Earth, in the Milky Way galaxy.
Southern Metro.
Well, slightly, maybe what, 3 miles from the Mexican border. Is it 3 miles? No, maybe about
Something like that.
maybe a mile and a half. No, it's 5 miles from the jetties on the island to the launch pad. So it's about 5 miles from the jetties there at Isla Blanca to the launch pad. And I think it's about maybe a mile and a half, almost 2, maybe 3 from the Mexican border. And I believe that I'm curious to see what the videos coming from the Mexican side are, because
Oh yeah, those would be nice.
yeah, because as you know, they have the better view than the U.S. side. So I'm going to be very, very curious to see what those look like. You know, I haven't been over to that side, but I've seen those videos, and they...
Yeah, wait. I just saw something. There's what's flying off the. What debris is flying off that thing?
I have no idea. Maybe it's heat shield tiles. You know, you see that quite often. Even in the Falcon 9 launches, you know, when you see those pictures of the engines as they're burning, you see stuff flying off, and I'm always thinking, what is that stuff? You know. But then maybe it's space trash. You know, there's a lot of space trash out there. You know. Lots of space trash. You know. Wow. It's really taken forever. Not that I'm complaining. I've got nothing else to do. But yeah, Doug's asking how many orbits. Doug, your guess is as good as mine. I have
Good
no
question,
idea.
Doug. Good question. Okay.
It's taken a while. I hope there's nothing wrong that prevents it from coming down, because then they got to figure out. They got to figure out how to bring it down, right?
Now I gotta reposition my cameras then.
I know. Or get a brand new
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
4K camera.
Hey, the funny part about it is, yeah, I can't get a burglar, but I can get the space-size buttons.
Right? I know. That's the funny part. You can't catch the burglar, but you sure were able to catch a rocket launch and a rocket landing.
Hmm. Oh. Really? Then
What?
Ramiro sent a message.
About?
Booster catch replay on your Facebook page.
Oh, he wants me to do that?
I don't know.
I'm not sure I can do that. I'm trying to not load up my my computer here. I've had some problems where it overloads and shuts down, so I don't know if I can handle 2 video streams incoming at the same time without shutting things down. So. But yeah, definitely for those of you watching, you are watching continuing coverage of Starship IFT5, live coverage from Starbase, Texas. SpaceX has successfully landed the Super Heavy booster on the launch pad the very first time, on the very first shot, which is a complete success. And as you see on the screen, we've got a live view of Starship number 30, ship 30. It is currently orbiting the Earth, and we are expecting it to be landed in the Indian Ocean here shortly. But it's taken a little longer than we expected. I'm not sure if they're doing that on purpose with regards. Yep, I just got my buddies down at Starbase are very happy. They said, "Yay, we did it." So, kudos and congratulations to the entire team at Starbase. You guys are phenomenal. It's just a testimony to what we can do each and every day here in Brownsville. And it's really a testimony to what the entire workforce here can do. Whether it's building widgets, whether it's building satellite receivers, automotive parts, right down to interplanetary vehicles, we can build and do anything. It's just not the future, but it's the future of our kids and our grandkids that's being written each and every day.
There's a lot of videos on Facebook right now about the launch, about what they saw outside their houses.
Yeah?
So people from Hardingen are posting pictures of what I saw here.
Oh, wow.
I thought I lived too far in Hardingen to see SpaceX rocket launch. Evidently not. My entire home stuff. Hardingen.
Wow.
Oh, wow. My niece is on South Padre.
Oh, wow.
They saw it live.
Indy says he likes the music. I didn't pick it, Indy. I think it's Elon that's picked it. But I'm hoping that I don't get clobbered because of Elon. Oh my gosh. Because I almost end up getting my hand slapped every time SpaceX put something out there.
My neighbor, which is 4 houses down, went live and saw the rocket. The same thing I saw.
Wow.
So
come on, folks. Let's land this thing.
So it's been up 57 minutes already?
Yeah.
Or 32?
I'm not sure. It's actually been, we've been on for about an hour and 27 minutes in total.
So it's been launched 32 minutes then.
32 minutes. In fact, that launch countdown clock, it's going past the launch there. So those, I don't, yeah, it's sort of. Yeah, I'm watching some of the headlines here and some of the. Of course, some
Close
sites.
the blinds. I guess I already found my new place where I'm gonna watch the.
Yeah, you don't have to go all the way down to the island now.
Nope.
What you need to do is to get one of these camera telescopes.
That would cost money.
It's just money.
Mm-hmm.
Your money.
Yeah. And how much are they?
About $300-400.
Oh, no matter. Say pocket change.
It's pocket change to Dak.
There's a difference between that and Steve Rodriguez.
By the way, he just tore down his mansion in Dallas.
I saw that. I saw that.
I know.
I saw that.
He tore it down because he's rebuilding it from the bottom up.
It ain't bad, dude. 159.
For?
A professional HD telescopic telephoto lens.
No, definitely it is worth at least getting it, and the key is trying to protect it, right? You know, you want to set that up way in advance, but you want to protect it from the elements too.
I tell you, dude, I saw it outside my house like nothing. So imagine.
What's going on?
What's that?
That's one of the fins. Boy, there's stuff coming off that ship.
That's right.
I don't know what it is. I'm wondering how many tiles.
Why? Indy said why.
I have no idea what he's whining about. Indy, what do you mean, why? Oh, you're asking about why the stuff's coming off the ship? I have no idea. Not even sure what it is. It looks like it's getting lower, right?
It looks like it's lower than that, but I don't know why.
I wonder who creates this music for SpaceX. You know that even their fonts that they use are special created, right? Most companies pay for special fonts. You know, you can't replicate a lot of the company fonts. You can get close, but not close enough.
That's what happens when you have money.
Right? It looks lower. Man, I'm already hungry. It says
There's
tear
lots made
down-
me hungry.
I know. It says tear down of a house, but you
Hey. Yeah. Yeah, press up.
Oh! About Dak Prescott. Yeah, he tore down his mansion this week. Well, you know, he's got lots of money. He wants a new one.
Did you see the football field he has?
I did.
And it says
Imagine.
faith.
Imagine having your own football field. That is a full-size football field, I would assume. Right? I would think so.
I think it's something like they have at the Star. I don't think it's a full-size football field, but still.
Because it would have to be full size to get a good practice, right? You don't want to be practicing on a field that is short. But then the question is, how often does he really practice on that field?
Right.
Come on, come back down. The key here is for it to successfully survive re-entry, and hopefully it won't have a fiery ball of fire like it did the last time. Remember the last time there was a ball of fire?
There's all that stuff. What is all that stuff?
Where? Those are clouds or something. But the last time, if you recall, there was a ball of fire right by one of the fins, and the fins were coming down during re-entry. The fin was coming off. It did survive in the end, but it was left dangling or something like that. So the question is, are they going to experience the same issue, or whether they resolved it? I'm pretty sure they upgraded things so it wouldn't happen again, but this definitely is a longer orbit than the last time. Indy's saying it's been 40 minutes. Yeah, Indy. You and me both. It's like, really? But can you blame them? You know, this is their only opportunity to gather all this telemetric data. So
Welcome back
Here we go.
to Starship's 5th flight test. It has been an exciting day so far. Even the crowd here is still so excited. We lifted off from Starbase at 7:25 a.m. Central Time. The Super Heavy booster and ship had a successful separation, as well as a good boost back burn and good separation of the hot stage adapter. The Super Heavy booster then completed the landing burn with 13 Raptor engines igniting and slowing down the vehicle perfectly for Mechazilla to catch the Super Heavy booster for the first ever land recovery of the vehicle.
Now, it is insane to think that we're not done yet. We still have, in about 48 minutes, the ship will re-enter. Oh, the flap, all the flaps that went today, not that could. The ship will re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. Now, as a reminder, one of the main goals of today's test flight is for the ship to make it through the extreme heat of re-entry, and to do so in a controlled manner. We learned a lot about this phase during Flight 4, and as a result, completely reworked the heat shield, but more on all that in just a minute. Now, re-entry is typically a portion of flight where we don't have communications with the spacecraft, because re-entering, it'll be re-entering at about 8 kilometers per second, or about 5 miles per second of roughly orbital velocity. Now, those speeds, the spacecraft moving through the atmosphere results in friction and creates a plasma field around the vehicle. We saw this in action on Flight 4 thanks to Starlink, and wow, it was breathtaking. The blanket of plasma ends up distorting communication frequencies, so it's not uncommon to experience brief blackouts in communication, but hopefully that's not the case today.
And Kate, that's where Starlink has just kind of been just the unsung hero and the MVP of this test campaign. I mean, it's able to give us data, not just awesome video, but also data in real time as we're going through reentry. I mean, this is something that throughout the history of spaceflight just hasn't been possible. And this is an environment that is so unforgiving, so hard to model, so hard to understand. And for the first time ever, we're able to literally watch as it unfolds in real time, get that data in real time. And we're able to do that with Starlink. And
Indy says he's going back to
sleep. We get to see something. We get to see the
Indy
show on the planet or off the planet.
I wish I could go
but
back to sleep.
what it means for this program, we're able to learn
I think I'm
Can't see
tremendous
you anymore.
amounts about our heat shield, our angle of attack,
I can't see
everything
you.
that we're doing as we're coming in through the atmosphere at
Oh,
hypersonic
because I
speeds.
turned off the
And it's
video. Give me a sec.
you can't
Video
just
feeds
thank it
of
enough.
us.
And also special shout
There you
out,
are.
you're gonna see some additional
Yeah, I
flat
was trying to
camera
turn the
views.
video
We've
off
got
so that
a really amazing
you know what,
team
let me
of
move the videos
avionics,
back to
cameras,
how they were
electronics,
before.
software people who made all that possible. And so hopefully they're going to give us an even better show on the way in today as we're coming in at about 5 times the speed of sound.
Yeah, those flaps,
So this is where?
Dan, that you see there, that's what's helping.
I don't know
Starship is in a
exactly
good
where, but they're
attitude
going to
for
land
entry,
in the
approaching
Indian
the entry
Ocean.
interface.
Some good call outs there, preparing for re-entry for Starship. And again, that's what Dan was mentioning, those flaps on the vehicle. And if you've been watching us for the last few minutes, you could see that the flaps were rotating around and helping orient the vehicle as it prepares for the beginning of re-entry today.
Yeah, exactly. Re-entry will be enabled by that heat shield that you see on the bottom half. That heat shield is made up
Andy
of
says, "Good morning,
18,000
good night."
hexagonal ceramic tiles, and they are designed to insulate the vehicle during atmospheric entry. At that point in time, temperatures can be as high as 26,000 degrees Fahrenheit or about 1,400 degrees Celsius. The design itself also permits for rapid reuse with no refurbishment between the flights. And fun fact that I think is just incredible in terms of scale, but the heat shield alone on the ship has a total mass of 10.5 tons, which is crazy because these things are really lightweight. They're made out of ceramic. We have a couple of them here. The one that I'm holding is
All the
used on
ceramic
flat
tiles
surfaces.
on
As,
the ship,
let's see if we go that
if
way,
you were to weigh 'em,
because
are
as
10
it's flat,
tons.
the one that Jesse has is kind of more what you see there on the side.
That's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. And having these different shapes, the flat version
And they're
the
kind of
curved
like
version,
ceramic,
allows us to
but they're
cover
really
a
more like
lot more of the
styrofoam.
surface area of the vehicle.
But
Again,
imagine
we need to protect
10
every
tons.
portion of it. So even those curved surfaces, and especially the hinge area.
You still on?
If you watched Flight
Yeah, I'm
4,
here.
is really what we want to make sure that we protect.
I don't know how much a car
And
weighs.
yeah, Kate, these are very,
Super
very
lightweight.
lightweight.
But when you put 18,000 of them together, they add up
18,000.
to 10.5 tons, which is incredible.
18,000 tiles
that
equals 10
the
tons.
heat shield has been completely reworked.
Starship has entered the atmosphere, remains on a nominal entry trajectory.
There it goes. Re-entry.
We
You
can
see the plasma.
start to see that plasma now starting to build up on the side. It's not quite full plasma yet, but we are starting to see that color indicate that the heat is building up on the heat shield.
Yeah, this is such
You
a
could
cool
fry a
sight to
couple of
see 'cause you
eggs and
really
bacon on there.
never really got to see
They'd be
this live
overcooked.
before
Some
flight,
papas con
before
huevo.
Flight 4, yeah.
I think I
and
need to
as
stop
Kate
while I'm
mentioned,
ahead.
It's getting a
Hey,
little
I'm
bit
getting
red, as
hungry.
you can see there on your screen. That means that
You'll
heat
probably
is
go to
building
Taco
up,
Palenque,
but that's
right?
exactly what these heat shield tiles are
No.
there for, is to protect against this plasma and this
Oh, I think I'm
really,
gonna go to
really
McDonald's
extreme
or
heat that the
Whataburger.
vehicle is going to see for about the next 10 more
I got
minutes or so.
Steve's restaurant right here, so
the ship will attempt to light the 3 center Raptor engines.
Yeah, I don't
and
have
those are
any
the
eggs,
engines that
so I
can
can't make
gimbal
anything
or
here at home.
maneuver
No,
or
come over to my
and
house.
they
I'll
do
let you
that
borrow
to help
some.
flip the ship
Look at that
until
plasma.
the engines
Oh my
point
gosh.
down so that it can land.
Or if anybody
Yeah.
out there that's
express
local and
in the
wants to
ocean. So
invite
that
me
will
out to
happen
eat,
after we get through
I'll
this
definitely
re-entry
accept.
period.
You know,
Again,
that's
we're
a-
Careful, there's
starting
a
to see- we
crazy
also
people
might
out
start
there.
to see
You know, that's a
the
family
flaps
thing.
actuate a little bit here
You know.
as the vehicle controls its role during
Getting
re-entry.
invited
That was
out to
one of
lunch
the main
appears to be
learning
a
points
family
from
thing. I think I need to
Flight
put that into
3 was
practice.
the roll control.
You don't have a.
Didn't work quite as
You
well
don't
as
have
we
that
wanted it
privilege
to.
yet.
We learned that we needed some
Right?
redundancies.
I don't.
So we
Plus,
added
I don't
You
drive
haven't
it.
multiple
graduated.
thrusters,
I
and
haven't
we'll see
graduated.
those in
Plus, I don't have a
action as
Tesla.
well today, as that was a flight.
I
Just
didn't
not
say
having-
that you did.
learning that worked better on Flight 4.
Just
and
having a Tesla
still
disco,
enabling that same
not
time
having a
today.
Tesla
Yeah.
Starship has
disqualifies
passed
me.
through 85 kilometers altitude. Flaps now have
Look at
control
that.
of the vehicle.
Great call out, as Kate mentioned. The flaps are controlling the attitude of the vehicle, and I love these views because it looks so calm.
I wonder if
Everything is
Frankie was
relative,
able to
right?
catch
So
anything
relative
from
to
his
this
balcony.
camera
I'm
on
pretty
the
sure
I
he
bet you he
was.
was. Hey, he was on the island, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
Extremely
lives on the
fast.
island.
You can see
In fact,
the
I haven't
speed
seen.
on
Let
the
me
bottom
see.
right-hand corner of your screen.
If he's posted
Starship
anything.
is designed to land on Mars where there are no runways or other humans to help out. So we also want rapid reusability. So we're doing propulsive landing instead of a more traditional means like parachutes. And so we will use the engines on this vehicle to help slow the vehicle down for a vertical landing.
Yeah. Now, entry is going to basically happen in 5 phases. The first is low drag, that lasts for about 3 minutes. Next is high heating, and that beginning when heating increases above the heat rate breakup
I
limit.
didn't see any postings from
That
me. I wonder if he
lasts
woke
for
up
about
early.
10 minutes. We then have high dynamic pressure. Starship will
I
continue
did
to
keep
slow
him
down
on
and
too
experience
late.
increased aerodynamic loads during that phase. And that will happen before reaching Mach 1, about a minute after.
Starship is approaching the peak heating phase of entry, remains on
Oh,
a nominal
he's
trajectory.
just sent a video.
Okay, so that was phase 2 that he just called out that I was mentioning. After peak
Is it the
heating
one,
is that
Frankie,
dynamic
that you
pressure
just posted?
around Mach 1, and that
Like,
will last about a minute after leaving
from
the
Edinburgh?
hypersonic area, and then we go into subsonic.
Oh, there he is.
And then,
Oh,
of
yeah,
course,
look at that.
landing burn. Wow,
Yeah,
what an
he's got a
incredible
video.
view.
The colors
look at
are
that.
so amazing, and
He was
the
able to
colors
catch
actually
it
also
from
tell
his
you a little bit
condo.
about the temperature that the vehicle is seeing as well. So I think that's pretty cool that we get this amazing live visual.
Speaking of live visual, the flap, we have more views, more cameras on board Starship, as Dan mentioned a few minutes ago. We are hoping that all 4 flaps will stay more intact than they did last time. We did make some changes to the design in order to help enable
Starship
this.
is now experiencing peak heating, remains on a nominal entry trajectory.
Great news there that Starship is continuing along the path that we intended it to fly. You can keep track with how fast it's going and how high it is above Earth using the display that is there on the bottom right-hand side of your screen.
Oh.
Guys, this is where we're really going to see
Hash Brown
a lot
calm
of those
now?
improvements from flight.
Yeah, he's
really
in his
come into
cage
action.
sleeping.
You guys kind of talked about, so it's called the static arrow. Those are
Oreo.
poke out points on the
Yeah,
flaps.
he's calm.
Those get exposed to
He's
some pretty
just,
extreme heat environments, and so we added some
He's
additional, basically made it a
whatchamacallit,
lot more robust
tearing up
for
his
the
back,
thermal
though.
protection there. And we learned not just from visuals and
Well,
stuff
you
like
see,
that. We had those
these
missile
animals
tile
aren't used
tests
to all
on
that
Flight
different
4, where we
noises.
intentionally left
Right?
some out, kept in some backup layers. They're called ablatives, which means they just gradually melt away to help
You didn't tell
dissipate the
me I
heat.
had the hair
And
sticking up.
we've got an entire layer
Oh,
of ablative
sorry.
underneath the tiles on this Starship today. So even if you get a gap in a tile or a tile is
Let me
broken,
see
anything
here
like
if
that,
I can-
we've got essentially backup options. And what we're really
So
trying
all
to do
that's
today
plasma.
is
All that is
do
plasma.
an on-target landing. As we lost the flaps, you lose a lot of your control, and so we didn't land right on target last flight. This time we're trying to really nail the target within just tens of meters, and that'll just be a really huge step on feeling like we're closer to bringing a ship back. Obviously, there's a lot of work before we get there, but we just caught a booster. We're going to start looking real soon at when we can catch a ship.
So the view on your left is as a helicopter passes by Dan, bound at Starbase. The view on your left is a camera that's positioned near the nose of the ship, looking basically down toward the flap. The view on the right is looking perpendicular to the flap. So we're looking basically bird's eye view onto the flap on the left-hand side, and then a worm's eye view from the side with that view on the right.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Maverick just buzzed the tower. He might be coming back, so.
Now, these views brought to us by Starlink. It's incredible that we have this high definition capability. In fact, that view on the left.
Starship is now halfway through the peak heating phase of entry, remains on a good trajectory.
Oh, wow.
So great news there, hearing that we're about halfway through the peak heating phase. Like I said earlier, this lasts roughly 10-ish minutes. And we did hear earlier that the flaps have control of the vehicle, so also good news there. You know, it is incredible that we've basically had views
The
the
good
entire
thing
time.
with this launch
Yeah.
is that there
Thanks to
was
Starlink.
good weather.
Brain did
That
black out a
made
little bit
Yes.
after booster catch, so I think we had
really
views.
good.
But you know, all through the coast phase, we had some beautiful views of planet Earth behind the ship as it was in its orbit.
Yeah, and I also do want to point out on your right-hand screen, we've got a more encompassed view of the flap. As we watched in Flight 4, the hinge area was the area where we got a little bit of that burn through. This view, this new camera view on the ship will help us be able to visually see more of what's happening in that area. And again, we have improved our heating tiles, and so hopefully we've protected the hinge a lot better this time.
Landing chill has started.
But again, these views are additional to the data that we get on these flight tests that help enable us kind of put the data that we get in the computer to the visuals that we see and try and align those and use that for improvements in the future.
Now, we heard a call out there saying that engine chill has begun. This is an indication that we are starting to flow a little bit of the super cold liquid oxygen through the hardware, through the Raptor engine, specifically the turbo pumps, to help ensure that the hardware is at the right temperature before we give a full push, a full flow of propellant at engine startup. So all of that to say, we are getting closer to the landing burn.
We definitely are. And again, if you look at the bottom right hand of your screen, you can see the altitude that the ship is. And it has
Gloria,
been slowly
it happened
making
already.
its way closer
We're
and closer
actually
to Earth. We're currently at about
looking
63
at
kilometers
the
from
orbital
planet Earth.
view
And
of
you'll see that
the
number
Starship that's
trend
still
lower and
trying to
lower
re-enter
as
the
we get
atmosphere.
closer
But the
and
booster
continue
did
through
land.
this re-entry.
Yeah,
It did
this
land
is go on for
the
a little, actually,
launch pad.
a
So
while
successfully
longer.
we were able to land that on the launch pad.
Roughly,
and now we're
before
just
we
waiting
execute
for the actual Starship
landing,
to
the
actually
ignition
also
for the
re-enter
landing
the atmosphere.
burn, starting with the landing
And
flip.
that should happen here
so
fairly soon.
we're making a controlled re-entry.
So far,
this is
so
one
good.
of the primary objectives
So far,
for
so
Starship
good.
today.
It's
is to
losing
demonstrate
speed.
Another controlled re-entry.
Altitude
even more
is coming
controlled
down
than
little
what
by
we saw
little.
on Flight 4. And so far, that is looking good.
And then as we start to really get lower, we're going to start seeing the atmosphere's effects start to take place, and that's when we'll be dropping our speed down closer to the speed of sound. You'll see the flaps start to maneuver.
Kilometer 59.
We were able to do a landing burn on Flight 4, which kind of caught all of us off guard. It was pretty incredible after seeing the flaps survive through. And we're going to try and do another one on this flight today. We tweaked it a little bit, so we're going to try and splash down at a little bit of a gentler angle this time instead of just kind of hit the water and fall over. And the goal with that is try and keep the ship intact, and then if we're able to then get some additional video of it, again, that's just more data. And
So this is where they get all their data from, right?
Everything we can
Right.
get extra, like a couple extra
Yeah, they've got
seconds or
different
minutes of
camera
data coming from the
angles
ship after
Starship has
splashdown.
passed through the
to
heat
kind of
engine
give
in
them
flight,
some idea of
approaching
what's
maximum
going
entry
on, as
dynamic
well as
pressure.
whatever the sensors are providing them on board the ship.
All right, we're through peak heating. Coming up is basically max Q part 2, where we're going to hit kind of that part of the curve where we're still moving really fast and the atmosphere is just dense enough that we're feeling the most pressure, but hopefully we're going to start feeling a little bit less heat now.
Looks like we got more views of each of the flaps on the ship.
That speed, then.
Its way back down to Earth.
know. Manuel Garcia says, hope the flaps hold up.
And we did
You and
pass
me
through
both.
peak heating and still got really good
You and me
views throughout that
both.
whole period. Typically,
I
during
really
the
hope
highest
they do.
heat on the vehicle, we tend to build up a lot of plasma, and that's typically when we would lose, connection or views of the vehicle. But again, with Starlink, we were able to get some live views throughout that entire process there.
I definitely want to see those flaps hold up.
And we're coming up. We'll start hearing a couple more milestones in about 4 minutes or so when we start getting down to like the transonic, the subsonic, when we're starting to move closer to and beneath the speed of sound. And I mean, we're getting live views, we're getting live data. We've got a couple additional tests on this one today where we
thank all our viewers who have chimed in.
To
The
test
comment
some
lines
additional
are still open
layers.
for anybody that
We
wants to
also
chime in,
have,
especially those of you that are on the
quite see
island
them in this view, but you
that
may
are
have
not out
noticed we
there
have some
celebrating
kind of silvery
yet.
looking tiles
But
on
the
Starship
comment
as
lines
well.
are open. So
And
if you're on
those
Facebook,
were
YouTube, or even
pretty
X,
much standard tiles,
and you've
but they
got
were
something to
wrapped
tell
in
us,
aluminum. And it was a pretty
we'll
simplistic,
definitely post your comments as they come in.
straightforward one where
So.
aluminum starts to melt at roughly the same temperature where steel starts to lose its strength, not necessarily melt. And so if we see stuff melting, we know what our steel is going to be exposed to. But yeah, 59 minutes since launch, should be coming up on transonic and everything in just about 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to hit
Now the views
transonic
here,
and then
we have
subsonic
coverage of
under
all
700
4
miles
flaps.
per hour.
We can see, so for those that perhaps didn't catch a glimpse of the vehicle before liftoff, there are 2 flaps at the forward end and 2 flaps at the aft end. The larger camera view that is there on the right-hand side of your screen, that is a view of one of the aft end or the bottom end flaps. We can start to see some heat buildup and peeking through on one of the flaps there in the top left-hand corner
Look at
of
that.
your screen.
You see the heat on the flap?
Uh-oh.
That's not good. But of course,
Once again, Starship now at T+1 hour and 9 seconds into its flight today, re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. Currently about 45 kilometers above the surface of the Earth, now 44. We are targeting a soft splashdown in the Indian Ocean, about, northwest-ish of Australia. And we are attempting to.
Your toast would be toast at that point.
Make a.
I don't even think it would be toast.
As well as
Starship is at maximum entry dynamic pressure, remains on a good trajectory.
All right, it actually.
All right, so that is great news there. Like Dan said earlier, this is basically max Q part 2. So this is the greatest amount of aerodynamic loads that the vehicle will experience during its flight. It's coming back through the Earth's atmosphere. It was above the Earth's atmosphere in space where there was no friction. We can obviously see heat as evidence of that friction buildup. The atmosphere is actually helping to slow the vehicle down. If you're watching the telemetry in the bottom right-hand side, right-hand corner of your screen, you can see that speed decelerating.
There we go. 500 miles per hour.
On the ship help steer the vehicle, and one of the main
The feed is
objectives
going
for the
out.
ship today is to demonstrate controlled re-entry.
Yeah, that's SpaceX.
During this phase of flight, this re-entry phase.
Yeah, and we have 6 engines on ship, but we only need 3 of them, the 3 sea-level engines. We will have that flip maneuver happen very close
You
to
see
touching
the
down
Starship? I don't see
splashdown.
anything.
We'll do that flip maneuver,
No, I don't see
ignite
anything.
those engines, slow
Right.
the vehicle down immediately, and then hopefully have what we call a soft splashdown in the water. It's probably going to feel a little bit harder on the top of the surface of the water, but it'll look pretty gentle.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, we hope to have some more views, even of that phase of the flight. So fingers crossed that we can we can bring those to you. We are hoping to splash down softer than we did last time on Flight 4. Right now, Starship continuing to make its descent back to
Starship
planet
is
Earth.
at Mach 2, remains on a good trajectory.
All right, great news there. That tells us that the vehicle is traveling twice is traveling twice the speed of sound. So we will then, the next call out that we'll hear is that it is, traveling about the speed of sound. And then we will hear a call out that it is,
Where are we
that
watching?
will be the call out that it is
not sure.
transonic. And then we will hear another call out saying that it is subsonic.
Kind of hard to tell
meaning
because
going
it's dark.
slower than the speed of sound.
Right.
Starship is transonic.
There it is.
So it's
at this-
transonic.
So at this point in time, we say transonic because certain parts of the vehicle, like the flap that you see on your screen, might be experiencing airflow faster than the speed of sound, while other parts of the ship may be experiencing airflow.
Starship is in the subsonic belly flop.
All right, so it
now
just did the belly
entire
flop.
vehicle is traveling slower than the speed of sound, so subsonic. The crowd here at Mission Control Hawthorne also getting excited, just like us. We're awaiting a water landing. We are going to reignite the 3
Is it
engines
nighttime
to
over
perform
there?
that flip maneuver, and we're basically about a minute and a half, away from the landing flip.
Yeah, the crowd's getting excited here as we get closer and closer to splashdown. Again, just about a minute away from the expected splashdown, so we should see a lot happening coming up here shortly. We're currently having a view of one of the flaps, and it is a little bit dark on your screen, but hopefully we'll get some good views of the ship as it makes that flip maneuver and touchdown for splashdown.
Yeah,
Yeah, guys, we saw that speed drop like a rock. So we're doing a belly flip right now, or a belly flop right now. That's what's kind of, if you saw the high altitude campaign, that's the unique thing about how Starship comes back. So we've bled off pretty much all of the speed we're going to. We're essentially at terminal velocity.
Starship is at 5 kilometers altitude, remains on target.
Five to go, coming up soon, landing burn.
Two kilometers away.
Starship is on target, approaching landing burn startup.
Manuel Garcia says, I think it's amazing
So keep an
how
eye
the Space
on
Shuttle
the
Discovery
bottom right-hand
program
side of
managed to
your screen as
survive the
well.
atmosphere
That will be
launch
the
for all
indicator
those
when the
years.
Raptor
Yeah,
engines
Right.
ignite.
you and me
if
both.
we are unable to see that illumination ourselves.
Landing burn startup.
There we go.
There we go.
Start it.
What a cool view of the reflection of that landing burn.
We can see the water just behind the ship.
Wow.
And yeah,
Starship at landing.
it hit the water.
It hit the water.
An incredible view. I think it is safe to say we have a ship in the water.
Look at that.
That is a live view from the ocean surface.
How did you video from the side?
What an
Huh?
incredible end to Starship's
Yeah, somebody there?
journey. A live view
No.
from a buoy that we have
Well, maybe
out
they
at
do.
the landing zone.
They have to look a video from
An
the side.
incredible
Yeah.
view of ship landing just about on target as they were calling out.
Incredible.
That was amazing.
Totally,
and
totally incredible.
we did-
What a
we
day.
were not intending to recover any of
What
the ship's
a
hardware,
day.
so that was the best ending that we could have hoped for.
Definitely, definitely. It was a historic day, no doubt
I
about
don't
that.
think we're going to be able to get
Yes, sir.
a ton of extra video of the heat shield, but we hit the target. We hit the target. Yeah. I mean, you know we hit the target because we had these buoys placed in a pretty specific spot, so...
Oh, it's a buoy. They're buoys with cameras.
What a day. I feel like
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
what a day.
There's buoys with cameras. Wow, that was pretty
I
smart.
mean, everything started off today with that launch. We were able to lift off towards the end of our window, 7:25 a.m. Central Time. 33 out of 33 Raptors in the way uphill. Successful hot stage. Booster came back. We watched it come down right behind us. Watched it get
Awesome job.
Awesome
and
job,
that
everyone.
broke my brain for a while. I'm really happy we had coast for a bit, but that's first ever booster catch major step on the way to rapid reusability. And ship just gave us one heck of a show, making it through a controlled re-entry this time, flaps intact, made it down to the water. Hey, starships were meant to fly, and it sure as hell flew today. So let's get ready for the next one. Over to you guys.
They were meant to fly, and they were also meant to be caught by Mechazilla.
Yeah.
It's been such an incredible day today. Congratulations to our teammates and to everyone who supported the Starship program. And thank you to all of our future customers for your support. And we'll also like to thank the people of Cameron County, Texas, as well as the Coast Guard, the Federal Aviation Administration, the Government of Mexico, and the Australian Space Agency.
Now be sure to follow SpaceX on X for more updates on today's test flight and, of course, for future Starship news. Today was amazing, but the SpaceX action isn't over yet. Soon Falcon Heavy will launch NASA's Europa Clipper, and we're also going to be returning Dragon back to Earth with NASA's Crew 8 astronauts. So congratulations again to the SpaceX team. What an amazing launch and an even cooler catch. Thank you for watching, but we're going to leave you with an awesome recap of what has been the most epic day.
Here we go. Right here.
Totally incredible.
Right here. Look at that. Right there is where I thought, oh no.
I know, right? Oh, look, did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it. Awesome.
Awesome. All righty, everybody. Well, that concludes our live coverage of Starship IFT number 5. We will be back very soon for IFT6, hopefully before the end of the year. As always, we thank you for watching and tuning in to Brownsville Tech Live. And as we mentioned, you'll be able to catch a recap of this show as well as our pre-launch party last night on 12 social media platforms. And at the same time, you'll be able to catch a recap on our mobile app on BrownsvilleTechLive.com. Thank you all for making us South Texas's premier podcast network, and we will see you soon. Steve, have a great Sunday, and
You
go
too, buddy.
Cowboys.
Go Cowboys, and remember, once again, thanks everybody, and hey, let's wait for the next one.
That's right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Give me a second.